It's cold and it's dark here, and my butt is wet and my hands and knees hurt. This stinks. Like, it actually smells bad here. I wonder if this puddle I sat down in is rainwater or hobo pee. Do you know what they call that little sack a hobo carries all their stuff around in? That's called a bindle. I knew a boy once in school whose last name was Bindle. I wonder if that means his ancestors were hobos, or they carried stuff for hobos? How low on the totem pole do you have to be a hobo's personal servant? Who am I to talk, though? I'm sitting in a hobo's pee puddle. Pastor ran out of pop songs he knew the lyrics for about 5 minutes ago, so he sings one about someone whose shirt has green sleeves. People will write songs about anything. Raindrops, cars, what day of the week it is. There's even songs about other songs. I am the one and only. I sing to myself because Pastor's song is putting me to sleep, and now's not the time for that. Nobody I'd rather be. Outside it's quiet. No sirens of other police cars coming to the rescue, no ambulances, or even someone shouting because they see the crashed vehicle with Officer Jenny in it. Detective Guthrie said they were on the way. This area can't be that big, can it? The old steelworks, he said. I thought this was a shoe factory. Not that I've been in a steelworks or a shoe factory. The closest I've ever been to being inside a factory is watching Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory when I was 5. That movie gave me nightmares that I was zapped into the television and shrunk small, and then my parents stuck me in a taffy pulling machine and I got turned into a human Twizzler. That was around the time my parents drastically cut back on the amount of television we watched. I'm sure those two events were totally unrelated. I don't remember the rest of the lyrics to this song, so I just sing the chorus over and over again. Pastor doesn't talk to me. He just keeps singing his weird songs that sound like they came from the Dark Ages. If I'm not rescued soon, he's going to be reduced to singing Christmas carols, and I'm going to go completely batty. Gotta focus. Focus, Lily. Read the future. What's going to happen? My head fills with screams again. Feels like my ears are bursting from the inside and spraying blood. I put my hands over them to try and catch the blood and grit my teeth to try to drive the screams out. There's no actual blood, though, and the screams are overpowering, even drowning out Pastor's latest song about going to the fair and buying a bunch of herbs. He doesn't stop, though. I can still feel his song in my head, even as this choir of shrieks attempts their best Yoko Ono impersonation. Maybe he's unaware of this awful sound. Ah! I yell, hoping that if nothing else, it'll alert Pastor that something bad is happening in my head. He keeps singing. I open my eyes and look at the dark, rank, wet room. There's an old office desk in the corner with the drawers pulled out of it that looks like a doggy's toilet underneath, judging from the piles. At least I hope those came from dogs. Focusing on things around me makes the scream seem to fade away, but it leaves a throbbing headache. It's like someone knows I'm trying to see the future and doesn't want me to. That's bad. I hear a car door slam somewhere nearby. Oh, thank goodness, maybe it's Detective Guthrie. On the other hand, maybe it's the person who shot at us. Hell, it could be Felix Weaselman for all I know. I should just sit here and wait, not wander out theorizing that I know who it is only to get myself shot or stabbed or something. And then there's a loud pop right outside, like a big balloon bumping into a cactus. Or a gunshot, I don't know. I'm told they sound different on TV from real life. Like, louder. Apparently, real life is a lot noisier than Hollywood. Everything's car engines and people's pants making swish-swish sounds as their legs rub together when they walk. Most people develop the ability to ignore it to the point that if you mention how loud the world is to them, they look at you like you've got a pair of hands growing out of the side of your head. Quickly, I get up from my puddle and scurry like a rat, moving across the room. There's lots of tripped-over metal desk-like things and boxes that make the whole room look like a bit of a maze. Like one time I went with my mom to her office and all the people who worked under her sat in little box rooms and worked at computers and telephones and looked miserable, probably because they were waiting for her to execute them. Behind me, the door opens. It grinds against the ground because the hinges are loose and the whole thing is off-center. I recognize this sound because I heard it earlier when I was the one opening the door. Maybe Officer Jenny is coming to find me? Or maybe it's Detective Guthrie. Maybe it's a cannibalistic mime in the top half of a horse costume. It's stupid to sit here in this hobo pee puddle and make guesses. I don't call out because I'm not stupid, and calling out to people when you aren't sure who they are and you're hiding alone in an abandoned steelworks or shoe factory and some maniac just tried to shoot you earlier is right there under the definition for stupid, along with licking an electric fence and shaking a skunk for pocket change. Pastor keeps singing in my head. It's actually a little troublesome now because I need to listen for footsteps. Shh, I whisper. I need you to keep it down, please. He doesn't. It's almost as if he doesn't actually hear me. It occurs to me that even though I've heard his singing all this time, we haven't actually talked. I mean, I've talked, and I assumed he was hearing me, but he just kept on singing. The door slammed shut. Whoever opened it either went back out or is totally inside now. I hear the clop-clop of shoes on cement, so that means it's probably the second one. Some people call that the ladder, but I don't know why. English is a really confusing language. That's probably why people born speaking it have to take years worth of classes to try figuring it out.
Hello?
Someone calls out. It's a man's voice. Or a very deep-voiced lady, I guess. Who am I to judge, sitting here in my hobo pee pool? Naturally, I don't answer because I don't know who this person is, and also because I'm a little worried that they're going to see me with my wet pants and think I peed myself, and then I just die of embarrassment and save them the hassle of murdering me.
Little girl? Are you in here?
The man-sounding but maybe a lady voice calls out. Well, great, he knows I'm here. You don't call out someone specific like that unless you already know the answer. At least I don't think you do. How often have you called out for someone in an empty building and genuinely not known if they could hear you? Never. You've never done that. Be honest, nobody does that. He totally knows I'm here. The police are on their way, I yell. It echoes off the wall so it sounds like it's coming from all over. That's good. I can keep hiding and yelling and he'll never find me.
Are you all right?
He calls back. His voice kind of echoes too, so I can't be sure if he's still standing by the door or moving through the room.
Are you injured?
Okay, he sounds closer now.
I saw the accident outside. The police lady in the car is alive. She asked me to help you. Your name is Lily, yes?
I crab walk over to a nearby box. It's got a big orange stamp on it. Probably some local moving company's attempt to copy the U-Haul logo. I peek over the top of it, stealthily like a mouse. Or a ninja. Or a mouse trained in ninjutsu. I guess there's only one mouse trained in ninjutsu, and his name was Master Splinter. So basically, I peek over the top of the fake U-Haul storage box like Master Splinter. The man is barely visible on the other end of the dark room. There's like a sliver of light peeking in from somewhere. Maybe a window I can jump out in case of emergency. He's standing directly in that sliver of light. Maybe he figures that by standing in the light, he can see me. He looks familiar, but I can't place it. Black hair, thick eyebrows. I always notice people's eyebrows first. I crouch back behind my box wall and call out. What exactly did she say? Peeking back over the box afterwards, I see he's moved out of the sliver of light, thankfully in the wrong direction.
She said, please go make sure Lily is okay.
That doesn't sound like her. Officer Jenny would be more like, hey, can you go into that empty building and kill a little kid for me? Nobody likes her. There's a little wedge between two boxes and one of these tipped-over desks, and I can just squeeze into it. So I do. Little people have all the best hiding spots. I once hid in a dirty clothes hamper when playing hide-and-go-seek with my brother Roger and my cousin Susie. I even covered myself with some of the dirty clothes, so if they lifted the lid, all they'd see were the dirty clothes. And they never found me. I hid there for maybe an hour and then crawled out, and they were both downstairs in the living room watching TV.
Are you coming out?
The man calls. I don't answer. I can hear him scuffing and doing something, but I'm not sure what it is. This wedge spot is dark and smells like a dead dog's armpit.
That's fine, I understand. If you say you're all right, I'll go make sure the police accidentally drive past. You stay put.
There's a sound like he's moving some stuff around. Something heavy scrapes the floor, a splashing sound. Maybe he found the hobo pee puddle. The grinding scrape of the door we both came through, and then a heavier scrape as he shuts it behind him. He bangs it several times like it's stuck, and he wants to make sure it shuts properly. And then, silence. Wait, not silence. Is he still in here? Did he just pretend to go outside? I hear something like soft rain, but inside. Something pops. Crackling. It gets louder. I know that sound. I squirm to get turned around in my hidey wedge and claw my way out from between the desk and the boxes. The room is on fire. That guy set the room on fire! Hey, the room is on fire! I shout. Nobody responds. I honestly don't understand how things in the room are burning. Everything seems to be made of metal or concrete, but it's all starting to burn. The room is filled with flickering orange light and brown shadows now. Somehow it was less creepy when it was just totally dark. With the fire, it's like everything's moving. Okay, what do I do? This is like one of those choose-your-own-adventure books Roger used to get at the school book fair and then give to me when he was done with them. I was never really good at those books. Like, I'd be investigating some old house and then I'd be abducted by aliens and turned into grade A human meat or go through some sort of time machine and turn into an old person and die. Wow, those books are weird. Turn to page 38. If Lily should try to go out the door she came in and risk the man who started this fire is out there waiting to shoot her. Turn to page 27 if Lily should jump out the window like she thought about earlier. And then, of course, there's page 89 where Lily just stands there and lets the fire consume her. I think about page 89 a lot. I turn to page 38. It takes some doing getting back to the door because there's burning stuff in the way. It's starting to roar like an angry monster. Some of it is spread to one of the corners of the room and is going up the wall. It's kind of dazzling. I feel like that kid who tried to burn a spider in his tent and the whole tent went up except there's no spiders or tent and I didn't start the fire. The door doesn't budge. I push and push, but it's like pushing on a wall. Not that I push on walls all that much. I pull on it too, even though the sign on the inside clearly says emergency exit and push. One time I went to a special private school with my mom. She wanted to see if she could get me into the school and out of the public school because of all the bullying I was dealing with. When we got to the front door of the administration building, I pushed and pushed, but it wouldn't open. And then my mom came up and pulled because it was a pull door. Needless to say, I didn't get into the private school. I bet they were watching me push at that door and thought I must be too dumb to attend. Hey! I shout and I bang on the door. Hey, open the door! Time to turn to page 27. The room's filling with black, wet smoke. The fire sounds like an angry monster. The hobo pee puddle has probably evaporated, which means if I'm not careful, I'm going to inhale it. The thought alone makes me gag. Remember your fire safety, Lily. Stop, drop, and roll. I get on my hands and knees and try to roll across the floor a ways. It's a pretty useless way to travel across a crowded, burning room. I give up after just a few inches because I nearly roll my head into a burning pile of old newspapers. I go the rest of the way on my hands and knees, which sting like bees because of my scrapes. Did I mention my scrapes yet? Probably 100 times today. There's the window. There's newspapers covering the glass. The date on them says 1972. Advertisements for funny-looking vacuums and cars. Some picture of a guy named Tricky Dick, which sounds like the name for some sort of criminal, and a movie about a fairy godfather that's apparently rated R. Does not sound like a Disney movie. Oh right, I'm in a burning building. I tear down the newspapers. The sun must be going down because it's orange outside. It's orange inside, too. And hot. Probably hotter here than on the sun. I bang on the glass, but it doesn't break. They make it look so easy in the movies. Stupid movies with their quieter guns and less noise and breakable glass. People obviously don't watch them for the realism. There's a wastebasket nearby. I pick it up and swing it at the window. The glass cracks. I swing it again and the window shatters. But just in that pane. And that pane is too small to crawl through, so I need to keep swinging. I break more glass. Some of it falls inward and cuts my hand, but I ignore that. I'm getting good at ignoring pain. Ha! Pain from panes of glass. I can hear the sirens of fire engines. The smoke is attracted to the holes I broke in the windows, and it gets everywhere. I can't see, I can't breathe. I try to stick my face out one of the holes, and I feel something sharp cutting my chin. I don't care, I just want to breathe oxygen. There are people outside shouting. Hey, there's a girl over here! Lily? Detective Guthrie's voice cuts through the roar of the fire and sirens. I try to open my eyes, but they sting. My throat is dry and itchy, and I just keep coughing. I can't tell if my butt is on fire, but it's getting really hot. I can't get the window open, I yell. Move your head back, someone else calls out. I don't want to go back in, I want to go out. It's all smoky in here. A hand starts pushing on my forehead. Whoever it is, Detective Guthrie's trying to talk to them calmly. Be careful, it looks like she's bleeding, there's glass. I don't want to go back inside, I want to come out.
I know, but we gotta break the window, honey. Just hold your breath for a second.
5 minutes later, I'm sitting on the curb several blocks away. A nice firefighter is letting me breathe into a plastic mask thing that goes over my face. Someone put some stingy stuff on the big gash on my chin and then stuck a large bandage on it. Detective Guthrie stands over me with his, "What is wrong with this child?" face. Down the street, the building is being put out. The fire trucks are hosing everything down with water. An ambulance goes by with the siren on. "Is Officer Jenny gonna be okay?" I asked Detective Guthrie. He watches the ambulance drive away.
Honestly, I don't know.
He turns back to me and pulls out his trusty little notebook and favorite pen, which is actually a bank's pen that he accidentally took with him after going to cash a check.
What the hell happened?
So I tell him everything. I mean everything. Okay, so last night I accidentally summoned the ghost of my best friend into a doll, and then this morning I took her to my old house where I met this boy named David Clark, who has really nice eyes. I followed him home. Wait, not because of his eyes, but because I was suspicious. You know, because nothing normal ever happens to me. And then his mother hit me over the head with something hard, and it still hurts, and I get dizzy. And then I dreamed of my brother Roger watching movies, and when I woke up, I was in the basement. Detective Guthrie puts his notepad away.
Lily, you're doing that thing we talked about.
Oh yeah, that thing we talked about. I gotta remember not to do that, I guess.
What happened here?
He emphasizes the word here by pointing at the sidewalk. I know he doesn't mean the actual sidewalk where I just got to breathe some really clean air out of a plastic mask. Somebody shot at Officer Jenny's car back on Main Street and she sped off until we crashed for some reason. And then I hid in that building and some man came in acting like he was there to help me. But I hid from him, so he left and locked the door or something, but he also must have lit a fire because after he was gone and the room was on fire.
Okay.
Detective Guthrie puts his hands on his hips.
That's better. Can you describe this man?
It suddenly dawns on me why the man was so familiar. His name is Tony. That's right. Tony. I remember him now. When I looked out the window while Officer Jenny was lecturing me about how everybody hated me, I saw him looking back in at me. The only person on the sidewalk who seemed curious about why an 11-year-old girl was sitting in the back of a police car.
Tony what?
I don't know, he's from out of town. I try to remember what else I picked up from seeing him standing outside the car when we were pulled over. We had waved at each other. He seemed nice at the time. And then when I wasn't looking, he must have pulled out a gun. Detective Guthrie talks with 3 other police people. Most of them aren't in uniforms. Maybe they're other detectives? They turn and walk away, nodding to each other. Guthrie takes my hand and walks me to his unmarked car. "Can I go home now?" I ask him. "It's been a long day."
Of course not.
He says like I'm supposed to know better.
This guy Tony is looking for you, apparently. That's the last place you want to go. We've already got units patrolling your neighborhood, and your foster parents are being made aware of what's happened.
The radio interrupts us. "Car 12, 1065. Guthrie picks up his receiver thingy.
No, we've got her. Bringing her in.
The radio replies,
"Andy, it's that boy with the mutilated hand. He apparently ran off. They can't find him anywhere." Oh, shit.
Guthrie smacks himself in the forehead, which probably hurt since he was holding his receiver thingy in it. He glances at me in the rearview mirror.
Don't tell me any more right now.
I shrug at him. I'm going to find out anyway. So David Clark is out there, and this guy Tony, who I don't know why he's trying to kill me, is out there. And back home, I've got a demon in an egg who I need to deal with. And I have to find Meredith and help her get home. Is there anything I forgot? I wish I had a planner so I could keep track of everything.
It's gonna be okay, Lily.
Guthrie tells me, like as if I'm not the one person in this entire city who knows what's going to happen. It is going to be okay, I say back. I don't add the other part of that thought. I'm going to deal with all of this on my own.
Hey there kids, it's me, MrCreepyPasta, and as always, I want to tell you thank you so much for watching tonight's video. If you guys are interested in finding new books from authors that you hear of on this channel, please pay attention to the links in the description down below. For one, you can always get a hold of my books, which are the Creepypasta Collections Volume 1 and Volume 2, but also from a bunch of my other friends, such as Jack Townsend, where Tales from the Gas Station Volume 4 is currently available. You can find a link in the description, as well as a link to all of my audiobooks I've done for Volumes 1 through 3. And yes, trust me, I'm gonna be working on 4. It's just gonna take me a while. And as always, I want to give a very big thank you to everybody who is on my Patreon. That means everybody. Everyone who is from the $1 tier all the way up to the, God, why do you pledge that much tier? But I especially want to give a big thank you to Jordan Alexander Sanchez, Stephanie Butler, Bobby Karman, Tristain Pelton, Chance Burnett, Diana Kraus, Kyle Reznak, Happy Birthday Ollie Whale, David Martin, scare-ington the unkempt, Angelus, Spanky, Snootchie bootchies, Autistic Spidey, Phruty, Seclude, Lupita Galvan, That Creepy Chick, Tyler Fletcher, Rebecca Harper, Merxinum, Red Shadow Cat, Xavier the Cheyenne, Demix, Sean Cadieu-baker, 6 Gay Rats in a Trenchcoat, Turtleman, Rob Likes Sharp Things, Chaos Arts, Cryolinian, Zachary Gruffius, Lord Life's Best, Goreng Trimagacy, Maria Walker, Pain Gravy, Crazy Kid, Mr. Marcus Blitz, Aka Limchok, Dirt Diver 030, Matt Bach, Naughty Devil, Voice of Sands, Coffee Zombie, Matthew McNeese, Shelly J, Jeremy H, Reltazal, Ficomel, Nana, Deleted Account, Melted Lake, Tali Sue, William King, Darth Miver, Michael Ortiz, Satanic Aries, Nessie, Bardo Hawk 764, Lambda M98, Harley, Sashi Suzaku, Croconut 509, Kaylee Ambrose, Suji Campbell, Stricken, Freddy Krueger, Nicholas Sicardi, Happy Birthday Jason Wilson, Lisa Cottrell, Caspian, Hades Nephew, Tater Chip, Acid System, Prozac and Pancake Appreciation Society, Benjamin Welvart, Kiri the Sloth, Fester's Lampshade, Sky Harbor, Nico Kyle, Rafael Rodriguez, The Ginger Bros, Aaron Stormcrow, Daniel Polson, and Corey Kenshin. As always, you guys are the MVPs. Everybody who's on that list, everybody who's on that Patreon, everybody who's in the description, thank you so much. And if you'd like to join this list of names that I horribly mispronounce, head over to patreon.com/MrCreepyPasta. And as always, everyone, sweet dreams.